Guys, we finally did it. We finally hit 1,000 subscribers. And listen, I know this isn't a big deal. I'm still a microscopic YouTube channel, and I get barely any views. But the fact that I hit that milestone and that you guys are not only watching my videos, but you're taking the time out of your day to comment on them and to subscribe and to like them and actually interact with me, I'm extremely grateful. So before I start this video, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you sincerely, because this wouldn't be possible without you guys. You've inspired me to keep at it, to get better with each upload, and to just keep making content. So I'm just over the moon right now. Another thing I want to do before we start the video is to announce the giveaway winner. Now, we announced it on Instagram quite a while back, and actually the person already has the backpack, but I want to congratulate Illyria Skateboarding on winning our first giveaway. I hope you enjoy the backpack and get plenty of use out of it. I would like to do more giveaways in the future. That one was actually pretty simple for me. Not a lot of people entered, so you guys have like a pretty good chance of actually winning something. So keep an eye out for that. It's probably going to be another backpack. So if you missed out on this one, you'll get another chance soon. Now that that's out of the way, today's video is going to be all about my Transalp 750. You guys have seen this bike in plenty of other videos, but I wanted to do a dedicated video on my complete adventure build for this bike, and I just got the last two parts I need to finish it. So I'm going to throw those on, and then I'm going to go over the entire bike in detail. And those last two parts happen to be a set of aux beam auxiliary lights and some double take mirrors. I'm going to be installing these off camera because I know that these in particular are probably going to take me way longer than I'd like them to, and I'd rather not humiliate myself on camera. And of course, I was right. This did take way longer than I wanted it to, but it paid off because these things look sweet. And before I get started here going over the entire bike, I will be putting a cost counter on the screen. I'll have the prices for each item, and then I'll be adding them up for a total. That way you guys can kind of get an idea of what something like this will cost you. And since we've got them turned on, let's talk about the lights. Like I said before, these are the aux beam MT8 series spotlights, and I picked these for a couple reasons. The first reason was I'm already familiar with aux beam. I've got a set of their lights on my truck, and they've been absolutely fantastic. The second reason was I really liked how these lights matched the style of the Transalp. I was looking at the MT8S series as well. Those are the ones with the halos. But there's not really that many circles on this bike, so I decided to go with something a little bit more angular. The third reason was I wanted something durable enough to withstand my next unexpected ground inspection. Oh, and these also have blinky modes. I'm a big fan of blinky modes on my lights. Not really too many situations where you can use them, but the few that you can, it's pretty fun. I think I've blinded you guys enough for one video. Now let's talk about my Tusk 2-track adventure tires. As you can see, these things are pretty aggressive. This is like a 30% road, 70% dirt tire. This is a dirt tire that you can go on the road with, that you can go on the highway with, but you definitely know it's a knobby when you're riding down the highway. I'm sure a more experienced rider could get a lot more out of these tires, but I will say I have noticed a big difference on the dirt. I mean, just look at these things. They are chonky, and they make the bike look so much more aggressive. And as you saw, for $256, these things are an incredible value. And speaking of incredible value, these are the Tusk crash bars, and they work. Anyway, they worked pretty well. You know, they're pretty strong. I think they're a great value for the money, and my bike really didn't have a scratch on it other than on the crash bars, and I was able to fix that with some black paint, so I think they did a pretty good job. The only thing I don't like is the front end design. They've got these two bolts sticking out in the front, like two little eyeballs looking at you. I know that's probably not a big deal, but it's just something I notice all the time. Moving on to the rear of the bike, you'll see that I'm running the Tusk pannier racks. Again, this is another great value, and just like the crash bars, these things are pretty robust. And attached to my pannier racks, I've got my little camera stick. There's really not much to say here. It's a stick, it extends, and I plan on putting a 360 cam back here. Moving back up to the front of the bike, you'll notice I'm running the Tusk D-Flex Pro handguards. If you haven't already noticed the theme, I really like the Tusk products because they're pretty good for not a lot of money. These look pretty decent and they offer a great amount of protection, not only from impacts, but also from the wind in the wintertime. The only thing I didn't like about it was the installation process. These are universal guards, so you actually have to bend them to fit. So let's just say there's a lot of Sharpie marker touch-up work on these handguards. Next, I'd like to talk about my mirrors. I am so happy that I got some double take mirrors for this bike. Finally, riding back home with that loose mirror after I fell was absolute hell. The fall was nothing compared to the pain I had to endure with that stupid loose mirror. It kept coming loose, it kept flopping around in the wind, and I was about ready to just run my bike off the road. These double take mirrors should eliminate that problem entirely by letting me fold the mirrors and stow them away when I'm doing off-road sections. Acerbis? Acerbis? Acerbis?
Acerbis.
There's no way. This is an Acerbis plastic skid plate. Now wait before you click off the video. I know you just heard plastic and skid plate in the same sentence, but I'm gonna need you to trust me. I too was pretty skeptical about a plastic skid plate, but then I did some research. Plastic skid plates are a lot stronger than you might think. They're also quieter, and they slide over obstacles a lot more easily than a metal skid plate. Another big advantage that plastic has over metal is cost to replace. Once this thing gets damaged, once it gets scratched, marred up, just looking super ugly, I can replace this for a fraction of the cost it would take for me to replace a metal skid plate. I think it's a great product, and it protects all the little vulnerable bits on the underside of the Transalp. Back to the rear of the bike, this is a Tusk tail tidy. I had to get rid of the whale tail, and this was a cheap and easy way to do that. Now we're going to move on to probably the only thing that I would change on this build. It's not a bad exhaust, like there's nothing wrong with it. I just think it might be the wrong exhaust for this build. It looks great, sounds phenomenal, and it's a lot lighter than the stock system. I just think I'm going to switch to a high mount exhaust in the future. I just don't know how that's going to work with my pannier racks. Now I'm going to do a little cold start for you guys. The camera doesn't do it justice, but trust me, this thing sounds amazing. Now that we're done talking about upgrades to the bike itself, let's talk luggage. As you can see, every piece of luggage on this bike is from the Rig Gear Hurricane line. I'm a big fan of these bags, and they've been super dependable, and I've taken them everywhere with me. Let's start out with my tail bag. This is the Nelson Rig Hurricane 2.0 waterproof backpack, and I actually did a full review on this. If you guys want to check it out, that'd be pretty awesome. But this tail bag is fantastic, and I've really beat the crap out of it since I've gotten it, and it has just held up so well. Now let's talk about my Hurricane saddlebags, and let me tell you, these things continue to impress me. These bags were on my bike when I unwillingly became a geologist, and there was like no damage on them. My lucky Nelson Rig bags took the brunt of the impact, and they actually look pretty good. And I know it looked like that little rig pack took a beating, but it was actually completely fine. Here it is. And the only thing that broke on it was the strap, which I was actually able to repair in the field. The rig packs are amazing. This is probably my favorite piece of luggage by Rig Gear. And the reason for that is it's just so versatile. This will mount anywhere and on any bike. I even take it hiking when I use bags that aren't waterproof. I throw my camera gear in here, close the top, and then I don't have to worry about any of my stuff getting wet. The only thing I don't run most of the time is this tank bag. I just really don't use it on this bike. It lives on the XR150 most of the time, but it is still a pretty cool piece of gear. and I'd take it with me if I was going on like a super long trip and just wanted some extra space. So there you have it, my complete Transalp 750 adventure build. Without the bags, this build came to a total of $1,630.47. The bag setup costs $754.75. But if you use my code Drewzak at nelsonrig.com, you'll get 25% off and free shipping, which brings that total down to $566.06, which is an incredible value. And with that being said, as far as the rest of this list goes, you don't need to buy everything at once, and you can wait for things to go on sale. A little bit of patience will save you a lot of money. The only two items that I recommend right off the bat are a skid plate and some crash bars. Another thing I want to say before I end the video is this is just my build. You don't have to build your bike a certain way just because some guy on the internet did. Build your bike to suit your needs. If you got a little bit more cash to spend, buy nicer stuff. If you don't, then cut back on a few items. At the end of the day, the only two things you need to go adventure riding is an operable motorcycle and the will to adventure. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope it truly helps you. I can't wait to see you in the next one.